price, then add transport, rent, and other expenses to get the final customer price. In the same way, banks use Kioria as the starting point. They then add their operating costs, staff systems, rent, etc., and a risk premium based on your repayment history to determine your final loan interest rate. Why it matters? Kioria is fair and transparent because it's based on real market costs and monitored daily by the Central Bank of Kenya. What this means for you? Paying loans on time can get you lower interest and access more credit. Your interest rate will be unique to you based on your repayment history. Even if you've defaulted before, you can rebuild your record and qualify for a better loan interest rate over time. Pay your loans on time, build a strong repayment history, and unlock more opportunities. Contact your bank for more information.
Tonight, the country mulls over the question of what is terminating a contract mutually. Obviously, this is a question that emanates from the firing or resignation, whichever you may choose, of Hussein Marjan, the CEO of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And of course, the other question that begs is, what next for the IEBC, bearing in mind that we're just a few months away, or about 15 months towards the general election? Kamcha Menza will be mulling over that question and trying to answer it. We have details lined up for you. Welcome to this broadcast. Here are tonight's highlights.
He's a serious professional. He has rendered his service to this nation. Let us not cause alarm over things that did not exist.
Setting the record straight. Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission now says its immediate former CEO was not fired. Hey! UDA aspirants bonding. President Ruto hosts all party aspirants in the 2027 polls at State House.
Every day, for just simple preauthorization. What's going on?
And World Cancer Day. Cancer patients say system downtimes and long queues at the Kenyatta National Hospital are jeopardizing critical chemotherapy sessions. Caroline Joroge is a sign language interpreter. My name is John Jacob Kioria. You're very much welcome to this broadcast. To start us off, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chairperson Erastus Ethekon is assuring the country the 2027 general election will be watertight and with no room for manipulation. Speaking during a prayer breakfast meeting organized by the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, the IEBC boss, termed as unfortunate, claims that the immediate former commission CEO, Hussein Marjan, was kicked out of office, saying it can polarize the country ahead of the general election.
On Wednesday, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, held a meeting with the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya as part of its broader program to engage various stakeholders in the electoral process. It is here that the IEBC chairperson Erastus Ethekon refuted claim that the departure of IEBC CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan had anything to do with the next election.
We shouldn't invent things that are not there to try and character assassinate or malign him, because it's not there and it's not fair.
While hailing the outgoing CEO for a commendable job while at the helm, the IEBC boss warned politicians against spinning out of context the resignation.
See the way some headlines there, basically trying to drive a different agenda about our former CEO, who is a very serious professional in this country. I will speak the truth. We agree we will speak the truth. He's a serious professional. He has rendered his service to this nation.
Ethicon promised to deliver a watertight, credible election clawing on politicians to stop any imagination of shortchanging the process.
I've been looking carefully to see and understand how IEBC rigs elections, or actually steals elections. And I'm unable to see it. And I don't think I'm exactly a very stupid person that I can't see this. And the time that I've had to oversight elections, the last by-elections that happened, I saw very professional staff at IEBC.
As part of preparation for the election, the Commission will be undertaking another mass voter registration exercise next month to target 6.3 million Kenyans.
We will set up our registration centers almost in every major village in the country. And I believe that's why the Evangelical Alliance comes in. Because now when we move to the regions, to the constituencies, to the wards, to the villages, you can assist us through your network of the many churches across to mobilize Kenyans who have not registered to come and register.
Evangelical Alliance of Kenya chairperson Bishop Philip Kitoto used the occasion to condemn organized violence in the country, urging the relevant bodies to act tough on those involved.
We must, as a church, condemn all forms of organized violence or unorganized violence, hate speech, incitement of any kind as we move towards 2027 and beyond. Because what we are building is not just for a peaceful election, but for a productive society.
As the country gears up to the 2027 general election, the religious leaders have been urged to speak truth to power and be at the forefront in promoting a cohesive nation. This clarion call is being made on the backdrop of heated political temperatures currently witnessed in the country, with politicians urged to tone down their rhetoric for the sake of peace of the country. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Shortly, Kamche Menza will be addressing the question of what next then after the exit of the IEBC CEO. But before that, President William Ruto has spelled the government's economic recovery plan during a meeting with over 12,000 UDA aspirants at State House, Nairobi. During the meeting, Ruto revealed plans to settle all pending bills owed to road contractors up to December 2025 by this Friday. He further announced plans to scrap pay-as-you-earn or pay taxes for individuals earning below 30,000 shillings and to reduce pay-as-you-earn to 25% for those earning less than 50,000 shillings. Wednesday morning at State House, Nairobi, over 12,000 political aspirants seeking to contest for various seats on a UDA ticket gathered at State House, Nairobi for a meeting with the party leader, President William Ruto. The meeting would discuss the implementation of a UDA manifesto as well as plans to popularize the party ahead of the 2027 general election.
I will make sure this party conducts free, fair, democratic, credible elections.
It is here that President William Ruto also spelled out the government's economic recovery plan. This included plans to cut back on pay-as-you-earn taxes for those earning below 50,000 shillings and for those earning below 30,000 shillings.
Wakati tulisema bottom up, it was not a slogan. It was because we want to mind about the people at the bottom of the pyramid, give them an opportunity to live decently like the rest of the people of the Republic of Kenya.
Additionally, Ruto revealed plans to pay pending bills owed to road contractors to set the stage for the construction of an additional 28,000 kilometers of road.
We want to complete the 6,000 kilometers that we have contracted by next year. Alafu sasa tutengeneze another 28,000 kilometers. Mimi nikiuliza hapa, watu wengi wataniambia tunataka barabara. Ni kweli ama si kweli?
The aspirants would also be briefed on projects implemented and completed by the government, with Ruto stating that the economy had sailed beyond turbulent times.
I am confident today that going into the future, all of us, leaving no one behind, we are going to change this country and we are going to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country in one generation in our lifetime.
Our foreign exchange reserve in 2022 was $5.7 billion. Today, we have more than doubled the amount of foreign exchange available at the central bank. Today, we have $12.1 billion as foreign exchange.
The president and his deputy also took a swipe at the opposition, whom they faulted for dwelling on cynicism, even when it was clear government was delivering on its pre-election pledges.
Kuna watu wamekwama katika siasa ya ukabila, siasa ya chuki, siasa ya watu binafsi. We are telling them Kenya has changed.
Please don't disturb us. We are trying to sort out the mess you created in the education sector. Shida ya curriculum, shida ya no teachers, no classrooms, all these problems were manufactured when they were in office. And the only track record we know of when they were in office in that sector of education is selling land for a school here in Nairobi called Ruaraka.
Kuna ile team inataka kurudisha Kenya nyuma na kuna ile team inataka kupeleka Kenya mbele. Your Excellency, I'm here because I have chosen to be with the team that want to take Kenya forward.
The State House meeting drew 10,000 MCA hopefuls alongside 1,372 National Assembly candidates, 323 women representative contenders, 279 senatorial hopefuls, and 149 vying for governorship. Some sad story here, and cancer patients and their families are raising concerns over what they describe as persistent delays in pre-authorization services of at the Kenyatta National Hospital. The patients say system downtimes and long queues are jeopardizing critical chemotherapy sessions. However, Medical Services Principal Secretary Dr. Oma Oluga has downplayed the challenges while outlining key reforms aimed at improving access, affordability and quality of cancer care. Joseph Wahungu with details.
Kenya joined the world in marking World Cancer Day today, with the commemoration marred with claims of inefficient and delayed service delivery at Kenyatta National Hospital. A visibly agitated caregiver, Betty Odero, says she has been making daily trips to the hospital in a bid to secure pre-authorization paperwork that will allow her mother to proceed with chemotherapy.
My mother is supposed to be preparing for chemotherapy on Friday, second session. Up to now, we are being told the system downtime. Every day it is system downtime. People are taking 3-4 days here, coming every day for just simple pre-authorization. What's going on? Is this a regional hospital for real? Is this what Kenyatta can do?
Speaking after visiting the facility's oncology center, Medical Services Principal Secretary Dr. Oma Oluga termed the concerns raised by patients over chemotherapy delays and laboratory accreditation issues as administrative and regulatory matters that should not disrupt patient care.
Often for patients who are taking chemotherapy, we have a challenge with the loss of fingerprints. And as you know that we have rolled out something we are calling biometric. And so because of that, we have to have mechanisms for identification. I think it's just about a delay that may need to be sorted.
Meanwhile, Dr. Oluga has revealed that cancer diagnoses in the country have risen from 44,000 to 48,000 cases annually due to improved screening, while cancer-related deaths have reduced from 29,000 to 28,000. His sentiments were echoed by Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital Head of Oncology, Dr. Abeid Athman, who noted that many Kenyans go for diagnosis in the late stages of the disease, making survival difficult and treatment very costly.
Zamani watu wengi walikuwa inabidi wasafiri waende nchi za mbali za ng'ambo kwenda kwa uchunguzi huu wa PET scan, lakini sasa kila kitu inapatikana hapa Kenya, na kuwa habari nzuri ni kuwa SHA inailipia hii PET scan na matibabu karibu yote ya saratani inapatikana kwenye Kenyatta University Referral Hospital. SHA inaweza kuilipia.
I can first state by the ministry we've been able to decentralize the care for cancer to regional centers, as opposed to the past where treatment was only available in Nairobi and MTRH through in Eldoret. We now have regional cancer centers that are based in Garissa, Nakuru and Mombasa.
In Kitui County, the county held free cancer screening at Mwingi Level 4 Hospital and a march through Mwingi Town to mark International Cancer Day. 300 cancer patients are currently being treated at the Kitui County Referral Hospital Cancer Center.
Tuangazie sana, kufuata maagizo, tusiwe na hofu. Kansa ni ugonjwa kama ule mwingine. Na ninajua Mungu yunazi na tutapona.
The government says cancer management in the country is expected to improve following the increase of cancer treatment cover under the Social Health Authority from 550,000 shillings to 800,000 shillings per patient. Today's World Cancer Day commemoration is a stark reminder that cancer remains one of the leading causes of death in Kenya, with thousands of cases reported every year. Reporting for Prime Edition from Kenyatta National Hospital, I am Joseph Wahungu.
To some developing story here, in a section of parties allied to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party are crying foul over changes made by the leadership of the coalition. The affiliate parties, including the Augustus Muli-led the National Liberal Party and the United Democratic Party, say the meeting convened by the coalition chairperson, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, locked out other parties. They now want the registrar of political parties to nullify the changes.
A day after Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition made changes in its ranks, including naming Kalonzo Musyoka as its new party leader, some Azimio coalition affiliate parties have opposed the move. The National Liberal Party and the United Democratic Party alleged the Monday meeting, convened by retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, left out many other member parties, terming it a political deceit.
It is indeed a total betrayal to the true ideals that the late Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga stood for. Raila Amolo Odinga stood for inclusivity, and he stood for oneness, and he stood for consultation. In light of the aforementioned, we the undersigned, founding Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition political party affiliates, reject in totality the resolutions submitted to the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties.
By dint of this letter, we request the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties to halt processing the changes since the publication contravenes the law.
They are now calling on the Registrar of Political Parties to disregard the changes. Elsewhere, Jomvu lawmaker Abadi Twalib has dismissed claims that ODM rallies are funded by the ruling UDA party, as claimed by ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna.
Kampeni zetu hazija kuwa funded na UDA. UDA is an independent party na ODM is an independent party. Mpaka kufikia dakika ya leo tuna support Mheshimiwa Oburu Odinga kuwa ndio chairman wetu wa chama cha ODM.
This as former Chief Justice and United Green Movement Party presidential flag bearer David Maraga said his top priority, if elected president, would be to end rampant corruption.
Kwanza kitu ya kwanza mimi nataka kuahidi Mimi sitaiba pesa yenu. Kama sitaiba pesa yenu, siwezi kukubalia mtu yeyote ambao tunafanya kazi naye aibe pesa yenu. Tumeelewana? Mtu ambao kama anaiba pesa yake, hata kama ni gavana au nani, tusungumuze na yeye akiwa kamiti.
Maraga spoke in Kwale County during his tour of the coast region. Giverson Maina, Prime Edition.
That story by Giverson Maina takes us to a very fast breather right here on Prime Edition. Don't go too far. We're coming back with more news, including business and sports.
Ya mapiano inabidi umeibembeleza. Kama neno mob ama ukimbie, man si utaipoteza.
Why do we attract the wrong people? So why are we attracted to people who hurt us?
So you've grown up in a very maybe abusive environment, and now you're looking for familiarity.
To a relationship in a fuck work because the both of you want it to work.
They put in so much effort to get you, but when they get you, they stop.
So don't get into a relationship if it is not based on Christ himself.
Allow the word of God to bring light into every dark area of your life.
Komaroka.
Kigomba ni kwa nguruwe, kwa mwanadamu uchungu.
Wazazi wamechangia pakubwa katika kuzorota kwa maadili ya vijana wao.
Wazazi wengi siku hizi wameachia watoto wao vijakazi ambavyo hawajui wanafanya nini, wanafunzwa nini, wanakula nini.
Ni mujibu wa kila mtoto kuchagua njia mwafaka.
Katika neno kaskazini,
maana ya shada ni nini?
Maana ya shada ni utiliaji wa mkazo katika neno.
Shada ni mkazo wa maneno katika matamshi.
Nahodha ameendesha merikebu vizuri. Ukanisho wake utakuwa nahodha hajaendesha merikebu vizuri.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition. Now, religious leaders and the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Children Services have inked a deal aimed at putting an end to incidents of abuse and exploitation of minors. The 8-point declaration sets in motion the last tracking of full implementation of a Children's Act and the scaling of functional safe houses for children who have been subjected to abuse and exploitation. During the ceremony, they launched their Faith for Life handbook. Yusuf Farah has details.
Thank you. In a bid to accelerate the protection of minors, the government has partnered with religious institutions to safeguard their rights following the unveiling of an 8-point national religious declaration on safeguarding children.
He is now saying that...
In the declaration, the religious leaders affirm that child safeguarding is a sacred duty in faith, traditions and civic responsibility aligned with Article 53 of the Kenyan Constitution and the Children Act of 2022. They committed to, among others, promoting and modeling safe, inclusive and protective environments in all places of worship, faith-based schools and institutions they manage, publicly denouncing harmful practices such as child marriage and FGM, and working to eliminate them through the faith-based teachings and community engagement.
From an Islamic perspective, children are amana, a sacred trust from God himself. Islam places the highest value on mercy, justice, and the protection of the vulnerable. Any form of violence, neglect, exploitation, or abuse of a child, whether at home, in schools, online spaces, or even places of worship, is a grave injustice and a betrayal of that trust.
It compels us as faith leaders and custodians of culture to examine the traditions through the lens of dharma, compassion, justice, and righteousness.
Children matter to God, and therefore they matter to us.
The protection of children is at the heart of Christian teachings. The Kenyan Children Act 2022 establishes that the best interests of the child are paramount in all matters concerning children.
Implement internal child safeguarding policies, train staff and congregants, and put in place mechanisms for identifying, reporting and responding to child abuse, exploitation and violence, including gender-based violence.
The 2019 Violence Against Children survey in Kenya found that almost half, that is 45.9% precisely, of female and 56.1% male in Kenya between 13 to 24 years of age has experienced childhood violence. The survey also revealed that physical violence is the most common, mostly committed by parents and caregivers in the home. Please.
During the signing ceremony, the clergy and child rights activists decried incidences in which minors find themselves on the receiving end of abuse and harmful cultural practices that subject them to untold suffering.
The 2019 Violence Against Children survey in Kenya found that almost half, that is 45.9% precisely, of female and 56.1% male in Kenya between 13 to 24 years of age has experienced childhood violence. The survey also revealed that physical violence is the most common, mostly committed by parents and caregivers in the home.
The Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Hannah Cheptumo, pledged to work with faith-based organizations and other stakeholders towards ensuring a safer country for children.
Within a short time, the religious leaders can be able to reach to majority. And because of that wider reach, any message that they pass can reach a majority. And so this will help us to address issues of child protection.
I urge you to use this handbook not as a document that sits on a shelf or in between your Bible or your Quran, but as a living resource, one that informs sermons, community teachings, positive parenting, youth programs, marriage counseling, and pastoral care.
The Interreligious Council of Kenya was challenged to use its platform to champion for the rights of the children and call out individuals abetting crimes against the vulnerable demographic. The declaration is a significant milestone in creating a safer environment for children, with the government now affirming its commitment towards the implementation of the same to the latter. Isufar reporting for Prime Edition in Nairobi.
Let's revisit a story I told you earlier, or rather I told you about earlier, and legal experts are warning that the next general elections could be jeopardized if the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, fails to urgently find a replacement for Marjan Hussein Marjan, who left on Wednesday. Duncan Okatch, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, now says that the CEO, Hussein Marjan, of course, who left yesterday, is the accounting officer who oversees the day-to-day running of the commission, and without such an arm, the institution will be rendered incapacitated. Okatch claims the timelines may not favor the commission, which has 17 months to the 2027 general elections.
Whether or not the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission will recruit a fresh candidate for the CEO position left vacant by the immediate former secretary to the commission, or promote the deputy to an acting capacity to facilitate the upcoming general elections remains unclear.
It is very difficult to have elections without the CEO. And the reason is the CEO is basically the accounting officer of the commission. Right now, there'll be procurement issues that are supposed to happen. People are talking about delimitation of the boundaries. He's the link between the commission and the secretariat. And as you know, the secretariat is basically the one that runs the day-to-day running of IBC.
For whatever it's worth, they really now have to, to work extra hard to go into recruitment immediately, or maybe have an acting, the deputy to act, hoping that the deputy now will be ready to wear those shoes. And if that comes to that, they may actually then proceed even with the deputy towards the election.
Legal experts warn that Marjan's exit does not favor the commission.
This is a constitutional office, and being a constitutional office, it means this person, it has to be competitive to pass through the constitutional processes, for these people to be vetted, and for these people to be confirmed and to take oath of office. So it takes time, which means that then, again, we also don't actually have a lot of time.
This is the person who was heading the working arm of this particular commission. He's interacted with them, he's been with them, he knows their strengths. Remove him off the equation or outside this equation will not balance very soon.
Experts also opine that the CEO's exit raises questions, more so for an institution that is battling trust deficit among Kenyans.
We have all the commissioners coming in as new. Wouldn't it have been a better place to have this CEO who has some experience to infuse and help, so that we have some institutional memory as we go to the general elections? So that's why people are realistically worried and angry and curious. Why will someone exit at this point? What are the reasons for exiting?
According to the lawyers, any boardroom wrangles, if any, ought to have been solved to ensure the preparations for the general elections are seamless.
Unless the issues there were so grave, or unless their differences were so wide apart and big, that you cannot bridge these differences. And at that point, I wonder what differences will there be, because all their target angles will be to deliver a credible, free and fair election. So there should be nothing more than that.
The players in the political arena, they know the importance of having the CEO, because if elections are not properly run, the consequences are known, right? We don't want a situation where we have either a bungled election or an election that was not run as per the law, or we didn't have a proper technology. The thing that the Secretariat normally does, and the things that the CEO is supposed to make sure that those things have been put in operation.
Marjan took over from the former CEO Ezra Chiloba and stayed in an acting capacity before his confirmation in 2022. The CEO is critical in the procurement, budgetary and general preparations for any general election, a painstaking exercise that requires all hands on deck. Kamchemenza for Prime Edition.
Turning on a light is something many families take for granted. But in parts of Taveta constituency, some residents have lived their entire lives without electricity. One village gathered to witness power being switched on for the first time in their homes. Among them, an 82-year-old man who said he never knew he would live to see that day. And a fisherman hoping electricity will finally protect his daily catch. Our reporter Ben Chumba brings us a story of what power connection means beyond the wires.
This is how the day begins in Grogan village in Taveta. Wilson Mramba is coming back from fishing. He left before sunrise. Like many here, his work depends on daylight because storage has always been a challenge.
Kiangalia nyuma yangu hapa, mimi ni mvuvi. Nafanya biashara ya uvuvi, pia ni mkulima. Samaki hao tukiwapata, labda tumeenda jioni kuvua, tukuja tumechelewa kuwahifadhi na kuwa ni tatizo.
Today is different though. His village is about to receive electricity, something residents here say they stopped expecting long ago.
Nilikuwa naona sitaona stima maisha yangu yote kwa sababu mimi nimezaliwa hapa mpaka sasa nina miaka 51. Sijawahi ona umeme.
At this home, Asna Khadija is preparing to receive visitors. Her house has been wired. The bulb is in place. They are waiting for the official commissioning. Neighbors start arriving early. Word has gone round that today, the first connection will be switched on here. Among those who show up is 82-year-old James Pala. He arrived on his bicycle.
Sijaona maendeleo kama haya. Ni kitu ya kwanza ambayo tumeona ndio hichi. Umeme tulikuwa tunajua wapi wakati huo mpaka kufikia saa hii.
He says he did not want to miss this moment.
Nataka kuiona kwa sababu imenikuta. Mungu anafanya kazi yake ikanikuta. Nataka kuiona.
Even charging a phone meant traveling and paying for it.
Sasa ile 20 yangu leo, ninajua leo 20 yangu haitaenda, itanifanyia mambo mengine kwa familia yangu.
Nishamuuliza mamangu, nikamwambia mbona tuna stima? Akaniambia tuliambiwa tutaikewa, lakini tusubiri ipo siku hata sitafikiwa.
2, 3.
When the switch is finally turned on, the reaction is immediate.
Nimezaa, nimekuwa mpaka na wajukuu. Sijawahi ona umeme. Huwa tunatumia tu chemli ama koroboi. Ndio tulikuwa tunatumia sana na kununua mafuta. Na siku huna pesa ya kununua mafuta, hiyo siku watoto hawasomi.
For Wilson and other small-scale traders, electricity could directly affect income.
Sasa kwa vile tumepata stima, sasa tutakuwa tunahifadhi vizuri ili mteja akikuja apate samaki wako freshi.
Leaders say electrification in Taveta constituency has risen significantly under the rural connectivity program.
Connectivity percentage ya Taveta ilikuwa around 30%. We have raised it to around 60% right now.
For this village, electricity changes how they work, how children learn, and how they plan their future. And for some, like 82-year-old James, it is something they are simply grateful to have lived long enough to see. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Such a positive story, really, in terms of what power can do to transform rural lives. Now, love, when tested by time, culture, and unspoken pain, can either fracture or fight to survive. The emotional struggle lies at the heart of the Lady Is Red, a theatre production that confronts the fragile realities of marriages, race, and forgiveness. Our reporter Jacqueline Masharia sat down with the cast and production team during rehearsals and now brings us this report.
Many times we get to enjoy stage plays without really seeing what happens behind the scenes. Long hours of rehearsals just to bring a story to life. I had a chance to sit down with the cast of The Lady in Red by Sons of Man production just to get a glimpse of what truly happens behind the scenes.
And then as you do the ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, do it very, very badly. Yeah. So it is, the ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta is not going along with this, right?
Set on the brink of divorce, The Lady in Red follows a white woman and a black man standing amid the ruins of a love once brave enough to confront the world. Pressured by clashing cultures, racial tensions, and the quiet wounds of emotional abandonment, the couple is forced to confront a painful question of whether love is truly enough or if their differences will fracture the very thing that held them together.
Sorry.
Wait, get out.
Not without you, my... And you
were cheating on me this whole time we were together?
No!
Wow!
According to Beryl, the production manager at Sons of Man Productions, The Lady in Red has been deliberately staged during the season of love, just days to Valentine's Day, but with a twist.
I am your co-wife.
She explains that while many productions celebrate romance, this play explores the darker, often unspoken side of love, how it can be weaponized, how it can test, and even wreck relationships.
Love is a beautiful thing, but let's not ignore the thorns that actually do not make it so rosy by the end of it all. But there's also always light at the end of the tunnel. But let's not sugarcoat. Let's face the real issues, and this is what this play is actually bringing. We are touching base on the real things that we ignore: the lack of communication in the marriages, the lack of communication in the dating scene, the lack of communication in the relationship is what we are trying to address.
Give her some moments to collect herself.
This marks the second run of the production, following its initial staging in 2019. Rehearsals for the current run began in mid-January, with Beryl describing the cast as dedicated and cohesive, noting that their commitment to mastering lines and fully embodying their characters has made the production authentic. The play stars Karina Rambaga as Amelia, a woman married for nearly a decade to a Kenyan painter. Boira Bisieri plays Anita, a character determined to disrupt Amelia's marriage, while Bhavnesh Chudasama takes on the role of Dr. Alex.
I got so lucky that one of my close friends is actually a doctor. So as soon as I found out I'm playing this character, I just started spending a lot of time at his workplace. So he'd be there seeing a patient. I'm just standing in the corner of the room, just watching, trying to make notes. Until they kicked me out. They're like, no, this is unprofessional. You can't be in here. But yeah, that's how I prepared.
We've all been in love. We've all been in long relationships and short ones. And so it's just pulling on those real moments where love is confusing and complicated and beautiful and painful all at once, just drawing all of that and putting it into her experience.
Actually, I've never played such a role, but I've played different roles, yeah. And as an actor, you prep by observing or watching something that isn't related to that. You know, you gather these things and you piece this story, this movie, this thing that you've seen, put them together, and it helps you to bring out your role.
Oh, man. Yes, I am. Then how else would you explain this?
Everyone will see themselves in this play, and they'll see themselves in multiple aspects of it. And it's Valentine's Day, so it's the perfect time to come talk about or think more about what love means to you.
The play will be at the Kenya National Theatre, Cheche Gallery. You're making it as intimate as possible. So it runs on 12th, 14th, and 13th. On 12th, we have at 7 p.m. 13th, it's at 3 and 6 p.m. And then on Saturday is also at 3 and 6 p.m.
How else would you do it?
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the Positive Warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
My name's Jung Guanzhong. I'm the boss of this entire hotel. My duties include heavy lifting, spreading happiness, and driving fancy cars. And I officially moved into the sunroom. You think you can cut my share of the rent?
Say what?
That day, she walked into my life. Hi. I met the woman of my dreams.
I'll take you home. I got the Maserati.
All the women in the club will be like sisters to me.
Respect is most important in a relationship. If a man doesn't respect a woman, then he's no man.
You add all the brilliant moments, or what we call miracles. Welcome.
Thank you for staying with Prime Edition. Time for the business news. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, 13 accidents involving petroleum and LPG products were recorded between July to December last year, resulting in the loss of 197 million shillings worth of petroleum products. The latest report by the Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority shows that human error was the cause of 83% of reported accidents, with Kakamega, Busia, Kisumu and Nairobi counties having the highest accidents.
Accidents involving petroleum and LPG storage equipment, including tankers and cylinders, remain a leading safety concern driven by driver fatigue and regulatory non-compliance. The latest report by EPRA indicates that 41% of the tanker accidents are caused by lapse or lack of transport safety management systems that include the adoption of journey plans and GPS, while 39% of accidents were as a result of human error. In total, 13 accidents were recorded in 6 months ending December 2025, resulting in the loss of 197 million shillings worth of petroleum products. However, whereas facility incidences contributed 6.78% of the total reported occurrences, they led to 23.53% of the fatalities. Further, the analysis revealed that 32% of road accidents recorded occurred along the Northern Corridor. Kakamega, Busia, Kisumu, and Nairobi counties are leading in petroleum product-related accidents. The authority has called for the adoption of transport safety management systems and improving driver behavior to stem accident occurrences. Regina Manya reporting for KBC Channel 1.
And business conditions improved last month, but the momentum slowed as softer sales growth tempered activity. The latest Stanbic Bank Purchasing Managers Index indicates that businesses recorded weaker increases in employment and purchasing amid a reduction in backlogs and concerns about excess inputs.
The latest Stanbic Bank Purchasing Managers Index retreated from a reading of 53.7 in December to 51.9 in January, while any reading above 50.0 indicates an improvement in business conditions. The January survey suggests that the strong momentum seen at the end of 2025 was less pronounced. The pace of growth was also the joint slowest in the current cycle, along with last September. Slowed sales led to a ripple effect across the economy, with Kenyan businesses scaling back on new hires and reducing the rate of input purchases. Notably, firms managed to clear outstanding work at the fastest rate in nearly 5 years, suggesting that the current easing in activity is partly due to more efficient operations and a lack of new pressures on capacity. Standard Bank economist Christopher Legilisho noted that improved access to credit and aggressive marketing efforts have helped sustain private sector activity. Business confidence for the year ahead actually ticked up to a 5-month high in January, supported by plans of diversification and new premises. Furthermore, while businesses faced rising costs, intense market competition forced many firms to limit price hikes, helping to keep inflation in check at 4.4%. Alan Aoko, Prime Edition.
And there is a need for scaled investment in grid-connected solar power and energy storage to support rising electricity demand and strengthen grid reliability. Speakers at the Intersolar Africa 2026 conference said that while Kenya has abundant solar potential, utility-scale solar remains underdeveloped, calling for stronger private sector participation and long-term financing.
Kenya currently has about 210 megawatts of grid-connected solar power, representing 6.5% of the installed electricity capacity, with additional capacity coming from such as mini-grids, solar home systems, and commercial and industrial installations. Kenya's solar potential remains largely untapped.
Connected solar represents about 6.5% of Kenya's installed electricity capacity, which is equivalent to about 210 megawatts.
All know Africa has great potential. We have heard this
many times, and it's very obvious. But for some reason, for a long time, not a lot of installation was happening. And we're seeing this now, particularly in this region.
Kenya is ramping up efforts to modernize transmission infrastructure and create an enabling environment for investors to pump in capital for large-scale solar and battery energy storage projects.
Solar contributes over 210 megawatts of the approximately 3,200 megawatts installed capacity in Kenya, and over 300 megawatts in captive power supply, particularly in the commercial industrial sector in Kenya. In this regard, EPRA has been developing regulations that promote the continued uptake of renewable energy solutions.
The Intel Solar Africa 2026 brought together policymakers, investors and technology firms from across Africa and beyond to showcase innovations in solar, energy storage, grid management and e-mobility. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
And Kenya plans to leverage on circular economy to spur the apparel and textile industry. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Principal Secretary, that is Susan Mangeni, says the government is seeking funds to increase value addition in fiber crops to reduce post-harvest losses and reduce green gas emissions through waste recycling.
Kenya and other development partners are planning to raise 8 billion shillings for the circular economy. 1 billion shillings from the amount will go towards zero waste for fiber crop. The fiber recycling project is part of the government strategy to increase production in the apparel and textile industry.
Came in a big way to see how we can be able then to support our farmers by reducing the post-harvest losses and also create opportunities for value addition.
Mangeni says cold storage rooms will be constructed across all aggregation centers to collect and process fiber waste.
We're working out a model where you put there an off-taker, an investor maybe who wants to do value addition or who wants to set up the common user facilities and manufacturing facilities for value addition.
The fiber will be used to manufacture footwear and bags, with the government keen on increasing the apparel exports.
To set up many product development centers across our value chain to support in the finishing, working out the finishing of the product.
We are going to put money to promote this particular value chain because it's unique and the market cannot be satisfied.
Plans are also underway to patent locally recycled apparel and textile products to ensure producers earn more.
But the value chains that we are targeting for starters is the banana value chain, as you've said, the sisal value chain, pineapple value chain, and the cotton as just a starting point. And we'll explore even to animal natural fibers like silk, which has also shown some interest.
The recycling venture also targets to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the agriculture sector and ensure local farm produce meet most international standards. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And good news for Kenyan exporters, as Kenya is poised to benefit from the extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act after President Donald Trump signed into law legislation reauthorizing the trade preference program through the 31st of December 2026. The extension, whose effective date is backdated to September 30th, 2025, provides renewed certainty for Kenyan exporters, particularly in the textiles and apparel sector. Following this, Washington says Kenya will be required to continue meeting eligibility conditions, including upholding the rule of law, protecting workers' rights, and maintaining a market-based economy. Brings us to a close of the business news this evening. Sports news is coming up. Do stay with Prime Edition. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Je, wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzio wako wa dhati michezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchambuzi wa soka.
Kafu ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Nawahimiza Wakenya waendelee ku-watch Dunda Dunda show.
KBC, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Time for us now to get sporty, and APS Bomet have moved out of the relegation zone thanks to their narrow 2-1 win over Nairobi United in the only FKF Premier League match played today. And of course, you see that Bomet began the game second from bottom, just 1 point above bottom side Sofapaka. But the 2 goals, one in each half, moved them up to 14th on the table on 18 points from the 19 matches they have played this season. Nairobi United, who managed to net a consolation goal in the second half, are 10th on 25 points, hooping 15 points behind leaders Gor Mahia. Nairobi United's next assignment is on the continental stage. They're scheduled to play Wydad Casablanca this Sunday before they meet Maniema Union. They will return to the Premier League to face Mara Sugar 11 days from today. APS Bomet, on the other hand, have a date with Gor Mahia in the next assignment. Kenya has officially qualified for the 3x3 basketball men and women's competition at the Commonwealth Games scheduled from the 24th to 29th of July this year. The men's team will play alongside Australia, Cayman Islands, Fiji, Guyana, Jamaica, Malaysia, New Zealand, Nigeria, Scotland, Singapore and one European nation which is yet to be confirmed. In the women's events, Kenya will compete alongside Australia, Cayman Islands, Fiji, Jamaica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Scotland, Singapore, Tonga and Uganda. The fast-paced sport made its debut during the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, where 8 men and 8 women's teams competed in packed arenas. The Kenya men's team also made their first appearance and reached the quarterfinals. They lost 2015 to Australia to be ranked 5th overall, while the women's team lost to England 21-12 in the quarterfinals to finish the 6th overall. The national government will take over the construction of the Mombasa Municipal Stadium, which is projected to be complete by the end of the year. This was revealed today when the governor of Mombasa County, Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, Principal Secretary Elijah Mwangi and his defense counterpart Dr. Patrick Mariru, among other senior officials from the Sports Kenya. The 15,000-seater stadium has been under construction since 2015, and upon completion it will serve as a critical national asset as Kenya prepares to co-host the Africa Cup of Nations, a joint bid of course with Tanzania and Uganda.
Advanced stages in the sense that the whole basement for the whole stadium is ready. Now it's just the finishing, and we have agreed out of the spirit of cooperation and partnership, the county government will finish all liabilities with the contractor as of now, up to works that have been done and certificates that have been raised, and then thereafter hopefully the contractor will be able to sign.
Hapa Mombasa hii ndio itakuwa ile stadium kubwa zaidi, maana zile zingine ambazo ziko kwa this side of the country ni ya 10,000, and our hope is that this one can be an alternative field for AFCON.
Kai Havertz's 97th last-minute goal assured Arsenal of a spot in the Carabao Cup final after they beat Chelsea 1-0 to advance by aggregate 4-2. Both teams approached the game with a lot of confidence, that is, keeping each other at bay, but Chelsea's mistake in the dying minutes saw them trail the Gunners. Following the win, Arsenal look forward to lift this year's Carabao Cup, with their last appearance in the final being back in 2018, where they lost 3-0 to Manchester City. Now, that rematch is possible this year if Manchester City beat Newcastle in the remaining semi-final return tonight. And finally, In the Italian Serie A, AC Milan thrashed hosts Bologna 3-0 with goals from Christopher Nkunku, Loftus-Cheek and Rabiot. The emphatic win saw them move up to the second position with 50 points and 5 points behind league leaders Inter Milan.
Miranda. Given straight to Rabiot. Rabiot here to seal it!
In Copa del Rey, Barcelona secured a spot in that league semi-finals after 2-1 win over Albacete in a thrilling encounter played last night at the Carlos Belmonte Stadium. Lamine Yamal gave Barcelona the lead in the 38th minute with a composed finish. Ronaldo Araujo doubled the advantage in the 56th minute, leading home from a Marcus Rashford assist. Albacete, who had stunned Real Madrid in the previous round, threatened another upset when Javier Moreno pulled one back in the 87th minute. Despite late pressure, Barcelona held firm to secure their semi-final spot. Meanwhile, in the DFB Pokal, Bayer Leverkusen dominated their match against St. Pauli to progress to the last four. Martin Terrier opened the scoring in the 32nd minute before Patrick Schick added a second goal just after the hour mark. The victory was sealed in stoppage time when Jonas Hoffmann finished off a swift counter-attack to make it 3-0.
Wanted it back and Hoffmann's finish! That puts the seal on it! Job done by Leverkusen!
That's the puts a cap on Prime Edition. Thank you very much for giving us company. My name is John Jacob Kioria, and of course I want to appreciate Caroline Njoroge, who was on a sign language interpretation desk. Have a good night and a fantastic week ahead.
Sahi, ukidial star 419 hash option 4 ama uingie kwa tushinde.com, hakuna probox. Jaribu.
Ni ukweli. Yaani nimeshaingia na ndio tunafyeka. Pia inaona iko ndani. Wanaongelea nini hao? Ni shamba. Na sio moja, sio mbili, shamba 3 hapa Juja. Very nice. Na ni area moja development na growth iko promising sana. Stima iko ndani. Hiyo. Maji inapatikana. Wow. Security iko sawa na all basic amenities zinapatikana. Shamba ni 3 na kuingia kwa draw ili kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi 3 ni 35 bob pekee. Na mtu akitaka zote 3 iko special ticket ya kuweza kujishindia shamba zote 3 kwa tikiti moja.